Just let me know if we're live. We are live, right?
Holler at us on YouTube if everything's all right.
Yeah, I'm getting pinged that, yeah, we're live. We're live. Okay. Sorry for that.
Okay. I see a
I,
question from Sean.
yeah, Sean, if you're not live, maybe you refresh your, yes, we're live. Okay, perfect. Yeah, just refresh your browser and you should see us live. Okay, and as I say that, I realize he probably doesn't hear me because he's not live. Anyway, maybe Zandra, you can just reply that, hey, refresh your browser on the chat. All right, so let's continue. We have okay. So was I not live? Like you could not hear me? Is that what the issue was?
Oh, I'm hearing you. I just saw a question there. And
Okay. All right, let's go. So we have 3 coding bootcamps product, I will say. The very first one is the beginner bootcamp. It's 4 weeks long, and it's really meant for anyone who has never done programming before. We ask that you have what we call computer literacy to join that 4 weeks bootcamp, and actually anyone who want to join any bootcamp will need to have some level of computer literacy skills. Basically, that means you need to have used a computer for at least a year. You know how to use the keyboard. You know how to use the mouse. You know how to create a folder, storing files. I mean, those type of things. But if you are very new to programming and web development, you will want to start with the 4 weeks bootcamp to get kind of the foundational skills. Then after that, we have 2 advanced bootcamps, and Zandra actually will go into the details of what they include. But as you can see, one is 17 weeks long. The other is 22 weeks long. Both those last 2 will prepare you for a job. The first one, not so much, it's more an introduction, but the last 2 will prepare you for becoming a front-end web developer or a full-stack web developer. And you can see the tuition here. There's no addition to that tuition. That's what it is, 349, 1,372, 1,765. We're actually working on rounding those numbers up a little bit. But what you should know is we offer free financing. So you never have to shell out the full amount upfront. The front-end bootcamp, you're going to have 4 installments of 343. Then the full stack, it's going to be 5 installments of 353. So across a number of months, you're going to be able to pay really as you go, I would say, and not have to shell out the full amount. All right, let's talk about the experience a little bit more now. And we have a very nice video as well on our website that goes through that. But the experience is from Sunday to Friday, and Sunday is not off. We're expecting you to learn. You're going to be online with your classmates, with your instructor, and you're going to be learning at your own pace. So we give you kind of a syllabus, and we do tell you what we expect you to know by Monday, by Tuesday, but you really can squeeze that into your own schedule at the time that works for you. So if you're working nights and you can only do that really late afternoon, you'll learn late afternoon. If you're working 9 to 5 and maybe you want to learn during your break, you can do that as well. So this is very much super ultra flexible during the week because we know you are busy adults who have to take care of business. And so we really make it that easy for you. We do expect you to spend a good amount of time though. So at the top of what we call React, you're going to want to spend between 3 to 4 hours a day learning. So don't get mistaken. It's still a very much significant commitment, but it's done in a way that works for your schedule. Then on Saturday morning, as I said, we have a workshop that used to be in person, now is online. And it's always from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., depending on your time zone. So if you register in Seattle, it's going to be 9 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Same thing for Boston. And you can also actually register online to pick the time zone that works for you. But here, it's very much the culmination of what you've learned so far. And it's really working on an exercise that's going to be part of your project portfolio that you're going to be actually giving to your instructor at the end of the day for a grade. So that's pretty much the sequence of things. And then every week is kind of rinse and repeat. You kind of do the same and you increase your skills that way. These are the fantastic places where we used to host our workshops. We're looking forward to get back to them once COVID-19 is over. God knows when it's going to be. But yeah, at some point, you'll be able to enjoy meeting in person with your fellow students and the instructor and work on coding together. So you've heard me talk about our instructors. This is, I would say, the #1 value that we provide to you. I mean, of course, we have the curriculum, we have the flexibility, we have the price point, but you're really going to enjoy meeting with those instructors because they are special. And they are special first and foremost because they are full-time employed in the industry. They're working with us in Nucamp as a side job. Because we are part-time, they can, just like you can squeeze your learning within your schedule, they do the same with their teaching. And so because they are active industry practitioners, they're going to bring you a unique perspective. They're going to be local to your city or your region. They're going to be able to help you figure out what it means to enter the industry. And they're going to also, of course, bring you other real life skills, I would say, of coding. They're not academics that are going to teach you the basics. No, they're going to really teach you how they do it with their teams in your city or your region. They are extremely passionate. And we know that because they do what they do and they teach you not only because of the compensation. I mean, to be honest, the compensation is it's fair and good, but it's not really what will be driving a top developer to spend that many more hours on the side. They really do that because they want to help. They are passionate about helping the community and giving back to the community. And you'll see that also that transcends, I would say, in the student reviews that we see online. And then they also come from rich and very diverse background. What I mean by that is being a web developer can mean actually a lot of different things. You could be freelancing and actually having a side business on part-time, freelancing and doing web development. You could have joined a startup. You could have founded a startup. You could join a big company, a Fortune 500, and being part of the IT department. You could decide to focus first on the support side. You can decide to focus first on the UI and website experience first. So they're going to bring you all those different nuances and help you decide which one will actually work best for you. And you can recognize Zendra here on that slide. All right, so that's very much my portion of the presentation. As I said, in about 15 minutes, we will be asking taking your questions online. So continue to ask them over here. Zendra, would you like to comment on this slide, and then I'll leave it up for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I try to pick up where you left off and do half as well. So this slide that you see up here is about becoming a web developer, which is why y'all are here today. And why do we teach JavaScript? We teach JavaScript because it's the #1 language in web development. No matter what other language you know, like maybe you've seen those Udemy ads on your YouTube for Python, which kind of get a little annoying. Whatever language you're coding in, eventually you have to know some JavaScript if you're doing anything web facing. So that's why we teach it, because that's what employers expect. And the average salary across the country for a junior web dev is going to be in the area of 70,000. We're not saying this is what you're going to get. We're saying that this is the average for a junior, and depending on your city, your job market, what the market where you live will support, your previous qualifications. Maybe you have experience in marketing and you're now going to be a skilled web developer, so you can command a little higher salary, but it will be around 70, could be 60, could be 80. And then if you see our blog, the news section at Nucamp, you can see a great article about finding a job after bootcamp. So we'll get a little bit more into that, and I'm sure you guys have plenty of questions about that too. Thanks, Ludo. So the curriculum is based on learning and learning through building, which a lot of people find is great. You just jump in hands-on. If you are a total beginner here with us today, you're going to definitely want to join the Web Fundamentals course. Web Fundamentals is going to teach you the basics, the skeleton of the web that everyone needs to know. It's HTML, which you might be familiar with if you've already started studying on your own. CSS, which kind of builds out and gives body and color and a little bit of life to the HTML bones or skeleton of the page, and the JavaScript, which is kind of like the electrical muscular activity, which kind of makes all the bones and the sinews move and makes your page come to life and actually do something. So you're going to learn basic JavaScript. By the end of the Web Fundamentals, your screen is going to be, your laptop screen is going to be looking like the Matrix, and you're going to be like, wow, can't believe 4 weeks ago I did not know any of this, and now I'm actually coding and building in JavaScript. You'll be ready for our two main boot camps after that, the full stack and the front end. As you can see by the diagram here, the front end is a subset of the full stack. So if you're not sure whether you want to go all in right now, stay with me. By the end of this slide, you might have a better idea. So the first course in the main bootcamp is the Bootstrap course. Bootstrap is a CSS library or library, which helps you to style your pages in CSS without kind of typing out all the minutia and really grinding detail of CSS. It's a little bit easier, shortcut way, not shortcut, but easier way to build the style of your page, the colors, the animations, the different aspects of CSS. But it's kind of dumb. Um, it does help make your pages responsive. So let's say you have a huge screen TV in your office. Maybe you've seen that at work, and it has a web page up. The images are automatically sized. The text gets bigger and expands out. Then if you see that same web page on your phone or your mobile device, it's going to be smaller. So the page with Bootstrap, your web page will automatically respond, thus the word responsive, to the size of the display that it's on. And you're going to learn this in a few weeks, and then you're going to want to move on to something smarter, which can actually handle data inputs from the user and change and respond depending on what the user does. That's going to happen in the React class, which is the next class in the series. React is a library from Facebook, and it's open source now. It is maintained by a lot of volunteers, and it's one of the most, probably the most widely used web. You could call it a framework. I won't get into that debate here. Web development tool. So this is going to make your pages not only responsive, like um, using with Bootstrap, it's going to make your pages dynamic, so your users can actually interact with it and do things with it. And you're going to really need your JavaScript, which you will have polished up in the Bootstrap course here. So you're continuing to build on what you've learned in JavaScript. The next course is going to be React Native. And React Native helps you build for mobile devices. And you're basically going to be able to take web pages that you've made, make them into mobile apps that will be ready to be displayed in the app stores for iOS and Android. And when you think about the things that you see on iOS and Android in the App Store and the Play Store, sometimes you see an app and it's only in the Apple Store, or it's only in the Google Play Store. But with React Native, you can build across platform. You can even build for other platforms as well. So this is a really powerful tool, and it's going to really soup up your resume. Lastly, if you decide to join the full stack, or if you're halfway through the front end and you're like, yo, I want to upgrade, I want to do the full stack. This is really, I can see myself doing this. I'm getting it. You can upgrade to the full stack, and you're going to learn about server side. So this is storing user data, authentication, building user profiles. Like when you log into a website and your avatar is already there, your last session information that you stored is there, your you can change your password, that kind of thing. This is the things that are saved and in this with the web apps, and how you can save them, and a little bit more into security with authentication. So you're going to learn Node, Express, and MongoDB in that course. Okay, and I think that wraps it up for the learning projects. Well, thank you very much. So this is an example of those projects. A few examples. If you go later on and dig into our YouTube channel, you are going to see uh, some students, graduates, coursework, and their projects that they made, and you can play a little short video and see the things that they made. And Ludo, if you could show the students the YouTube channel with the
Yeah, no,
projects.
absolutely. So you can look up, if you look up on Google, Nucamp YouTube or Nucamp coding YouTube, you're going to find our channel here. You can, of course, subscribe to it. And we've created a few playlists for you. So you have the student testimonial. You can find plenty here, students and instructor testimonial. And then what Zendra was mentioning was the student project. So you have a ton of examples of what our students have been able to actually create during and at the end of the bootcamp. So something really cool and interesting to watch if you have time.
Great. Thanks so much, Ludo. And those projects are really going to help you uh, in your job search. They're going to go right in your portfolio, and an employer is going to be able to click on that and actually see and touch, so to speak, interact with the work you've done. So we could go to the next slide. Thanks. And this is our schedule. Since now you are raring to sign up and register, this is a screenshot. Don't worry, this is not the actual necessarily in your area. Don't be alarmed if you see a course is full. There's a course that's always starting up, and new courses are added if they fill up. And if there isn't a new course available, the next one starts in 5 weeks. And that's 5 weeks that you could spend learning HTML if you've never done it before. Watch a couple of YouTube videos, listen to a few podcasts. You can register for that course and get that early bird discount. And the 5 weeks, believe me, will fly by, and you'll be starting your course if you decide to register. So you should register in your city or your region. And this is because if you go through the course and you graduate, you want to be in the course with people in your community who they might be employed in your community. Your instructor will be in your community. They can tell you more about the jobs in your area. And also your fellow students, whenever we do come out of this weird kind of COVID pause that the earth is on, you're going to want to meet up with those your fellow students. You're going to want to meet up with the people that you were in class with, and have job meetups and that kind of thing. So the early bird deadline is the 21st. Don't miss that. Great, thanks. Almost forgot to say that. And thank you, Ludo. So this slide is about our scholarships. We have a wonderful partnership now with Career Karma. So this is great if you're coming in now, because we didn't always have this. So it's wonderful that you're joining us now. And you can visit nucamp.co/scholarships to find out more about eligibility. and the registration process. Also for high school grads, we haven't forgot about you. You can join. This time is really uncertain, everything with the future. People are kind of wondering what to do, and maybe you're getting used to, you already got used to the idea of online schooling. We do have a high school graduate back to school scholarship for you as well. I think that's about it. Yes, those testimonials from our students, as Ludo already mentioned, we have great reviews, and we're really, um, it's really nice, and it's humbling, I think, to see the real outpouring of praise for what the instructors are able to carry out, what Ludo and his team have been able to carry out. The students are happy with the instructors, like this Micah here is talking about the knowledgeability of our instructors. Uh, and Ozzy's talking about the flexibility of the course and how it was the only non full-time program that met in person. We hope to go back to in person when it's feasible. And the affordability, of course, that's um, why many of you are here as well. Not only that, but the quality and the commitment of the instructors. I would like to say very briefly that um, Nucamp's been able to attract instructors who are really committed, and as Ludo already touched on it, but the instructors are not there for, you know, the compensation, getting getting wealthy or anything, but definitely there because they want to give back. And I've seen so many instructors give extra, so you're really going to enjoy that aspect of the boot camp. I think that does it for this slide as well. Thanks, Ludo. Okay, nice.
All right. And of course, we want you to know that this is with one objective in mind. And many of you have that one objective, which is a different career. And so we get asked the question quite often, what is the job prospect out there? How successful are your graduates? And I think there's no better answer to actually point you to them. They are all part of the Nucamp LinkedIn alumni group. So if you follow that link, it's pretty simple, linkedin.com/school/Nucamp, you'll find the alumni group, and you'll find everyone who has graduated so far. I mean, maybe not everyone actually joined, but you'll be able to just see for yourself what kind of job they're in now. You can message those people. And so I really encourage you to do that if you want to know more about the success of our alumni. And we are now ready to take your questions. I will encourage you to ask them on either YouTube or Facebook if you're watching us on Facebook. So type in your question on the chat window, and Zandra and I will start to answer those. So let's actually get started, Zandra.
Yeah.
I saw one earlier. Besides the "Are you frozen?" Which I think we addressed. Yeah, so Jeremy Schultz was asking how much time is invested in learning/understanding GitHub. So that's a great question, Jeremy. We introduced GitHub the very first week of the full stack and front end bootcamp. So it's not introduced during the 4 weeks introduction bootcamp. That will be actually a little too much, but it is introduced and taught in the very first week of the bootcamp. And then from there, we really ask students to keep learning and using GitHub to publish their updates and things like that. So it's not like Bootstrap or React where we have a full 4 weeks on just GitHub. It's just integrated into the curriculum as one of the tools that needs to be used, just like Visual Studio Code is one of the tools that needs to be used. Do you see another question that you would like to answer?
I see one from Sean Miller on YouTube. Hello, Sean. Is the web fundamentals a requirement for the full stack or the front end? Sean, that's a good question. The web fundamentals is a requirement if you don't have basic JavaScript skill. So I would ask you, Sean, can you write a for loop in JavaScript? Can you iterate over an array? Those kinds of basic skills. And we have a quiz link from our nucamp.co website, which just has a little 25 question quiz. If you score an 85% or higher on that, you should be good to start the main boot camps.
And Sean Miller is asking, can I apply for a scholarship now for the full stack? Yes, you can certainly apply. Let me actually type in the link to our scholarship page. We have two right now. We're looking into adding more scholarships, but this one should get you to the two that we have available. So check them out. There's a full step-by-step list of how you can actually apply there.
Great. And it's an interesting question from IE Bobo on YouTube. How can you meet or identify Nucamp staff in our area? So there is, if you go to nucamp.co and you type in your town name or your city name, or you select my community, there's a function there for selecting your area. You will be able to scroll down and you'll see the boot camps that are starting near you. You'll see jobs available in your area for web development, and you'll also see instructors in your area. And you might recognize some photos. Who knows? Maybe it's someone you saw at the grocery store or something, depending on how small your area is. And also, if you go on LinkedIn, you can click on Nucamp and you can see some of those instructors.
Yeah, that's a great point. Moses Ramirez is asking, do you provide any job hunting support and advice? Yes, we do. So what we don't mention, and we probably should, is at the end of your either front-end or full-stack bootcamp, you are enrolled in a career development program that lasts 6 weeks. You are also joining a specific job hunting channel where actually Zandra is super active in posting new opportunities. You have access to a LinkedIn premium membership that we sponsor for you, and that really helps you get to recruiters, that gives you a different status on LinkedIn. And you have access to your instructor pool as well. We hear a lot students saying that the best job hunting advice they receive from their local instructors as well. So that's we do that, and I realize we don't do a good enough job mentioning it or advertising it. So we'll actually work on that.
Okay, so I would say, Sean, I would take Sean Robinson's question about the major differences between using Nucamp compared to studying it on your own. If we have the discipline, since it is self-paced learning, how can we get a good understanding of it all alone? Great question, and one many of you are no doubt asking but didn't type. So Sean, if you have the discipline to gather your own curriculum, which is industry relevant, and study every day for 2 hours, and also post to GitHub and all that's related with having a portfolio, I would say don't spend the money on Nucamp. That's not for you if you're that kind of person. And how can we get a good understanding of it all alone? Well, with Nucamp, you won't be all alone. That's the key. You have a huge community of instructors, alumni, and your senior students who are a few weeks or months ahead of you, few weeks ahead of you, I should say, who will always jump in and be there to help you pretty much 24/7 on our internal Slack channels. So if you're able to do it on your own, if you know someone in the industry who's already helping you, I would say don't spend the money on a course if you don't need it, of course. But we're here for you if you decide that you do need it.
Yeah, that's a very great advice, Zandra. I'll say that there's actually research being done in that space ever since learning online became so predominant several years ago. There was that movement called the MOOCs, Massive Open Online Curriculum, and Udemy, Coursera, edX, Udacity really are part of that movement. And the study says that only 3% of the student body was actually able to stay committed throughout every day, but throughout 2, 3, 4 months period to actually get to the results that they were expecting. So when and if you are in that 3%, that's amazing, because as Zandra say, I will say if you've been able to do that in the past and you know you can do that in the future, don't spend any money on any coding bootcamp, Nucamp or otherwise. If you can do it on your own online, there's great content out there, and you should definitely give it a try. I'll say that most students who come to us went that route and realized that they really wanted to learn with others. They really wanted to be with other students. They really wanted to have an instructor. They really wanted to have that structure. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's not like a failure. It's actually many people learn differently. And people say we are all social animals. And so learning on your own is really tough. And we see that because of COVID. And if you have kids, you see how tough it is on someone's psyche to just be on your own learning. So if that's not you, then you can come and see us, and we'll give you everything else that you need.
Yeah, and I would just say not to put a too fine a point on it, but it's kind of like going to the gym because you want to lose, 10, 20 pounds. If your personal trainer that you invested and paid for is waiting for you at the gym at 7:30 in the morning, you're way more likely to meet your goals than if you say, okay, I'm gonna get out this bed and I'm gonna get dressed and go running on your own. So it's similar to that. I see a question from Papa Nidae on YouTube. How do you recommend taking off time to practice after the first boot camp before starting the second one? Personally, I don't know your personal situation. I would say keep the momentum going that you have. And once you develop that muscle memory of typing and that daily pattern of studying and completing your Saturday coursework, you do have a week off break between classes. You don't want to break that. You don't want to be away from coding for too long. And when you say taking time off for practice, you you can continue to practice and study while you're in the boot camp. That's the great flexibility of the course.
Yeah, I'm going to take a few questions here that I think we can answer briefly. One around deployment on the back end. So right now we teach you the development of the back end, and we are actually adding right now deployment modules to the course. So if you sign up now, you'll have access to those modules that are going to teach you how to deploy to AWS, Amazon, and Google Firebase at least. Otherwise, you'll know everything you need to know to deploy locally and on any Linux-based type of systems. Braxton is asking about Python. So Python is not introduced in the curriculum at this time. We are only focused on JavaScript. We are thinking about adding that though. And I see one here that I really find interesting from Papa Ndiaye, who is saying that he's considering taking CS50, and is that a good thing prior to the bootcamp? For those who don't know, CS50 is a computer science introduction. I think it's from Harvard. It's a very well-known one. It's a very challenging one. And the answer will be, Papa, yes, absolutely. If you feel like you can tackle that. I've seen people take 2 years to complete it, though. So be careful what you're signing
I
up for.
never completed it.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic experience. And if you're thinking about learning computer science, the academic aspect of it, and then doing a coding bootcamp, you will want to do it in that sequence. First, learn the academic aspect with CS, computer science, and CS50 is perfect for that. And then do a bootcamp, not the other way around. So yeah, that's pretty much the 3 questions that I thought I would tackle. Zandra, do you see others?
Yes. If you're successful at the end, i.e. Bobo again on YouTube, students have certifications. Yes, you will receive a certificate from Nucamp, and you'll be able to proudly post it on your LinkedIn. You'll be able to mention it on your resume. And Sean Miller, yes, you like to work with others. That's great. You ask a lot of questions. That's awesome. Al Suarez on YouTube, does software development prepare you for a career in cybersecurity? If you're into cybersecurity, there are other boot camps out there and other courses that you might want to consider first. There is benefit to knowing basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript if you will be in the web space. So you might benefit a lot from the fundamentals course.
Yeah, absolutely. I see a question from iBobo regarding computer performance for the best outcome. You can have any kind of regular computer, I would say, up to the point where you are in the full stack bootcamp and you are learning React Native. So if you're just thinking about the first 4 weeks, whatever computer you have, as long as it's not a Chromebook, will work. But if you go to React Native, you're going to want something that has at least 8 gigabytes of memory, a very decent processor, an SSD hard drive. And we have the specs actually on our website. So just check out our website. I see another question from Newton. For the bigger projects, how long do we have to make them and how do we find teammates? We help you team with one another within your class of 12 students. You can also meet with other students on the Slack channel. So you have access to maybe 250 students that are doing the same things that you are at any point in time. And every project is boxed in a week. So you're supposed to work on that project with your instructor actually on Saturdays. And then on top of that, you work on your personal project in solo or with other students as well.
Yes, thanks. And I see another question from Sean. A lot of good questions. How do I make a schedule during the week? And is the course pre-recorded? So we didn't touch on that. Between Sunday and Friday, you'll have a kind of self-paced study. You have our Learn dashboard for our students where you have a login. You complete different course modules pretty much at your own pace while still staying on track to be done with the week's material by Saturday. And you'll have quizzes and assignments and interaction in our forums with your instructor and with your fellow classmates. And then on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, you'll have a 4-hour live online class. They are all online currently. And you'll actually build something. You'll go through the week's material with your instructor and you'll have a guided hands-on coding session.
Great. Yeah. Papa Ndiaye asks about the difference between software engineering and full stack web development. And I think it's connected to your previous question around CS50. I'll say that it's maybe misguided for Coding Bootcamp to tell you that they're going to prepare you for software engineering careers, because software engineering careers are really grounded in computer science fundamentals. So your point about CS50 is very, very valid from that standpoint. Full stack web development does not necessarily require all the skills and the knowledge that you will acquire with computer science. So that's why there's a difference here. To be a true software engineer, and think about it, a software engineer will be someone who will be capable of building Windows, like the actual operating system Windows, or Word or Excel. It's a much greater level of skills and understanding of computer science fundamentals than building a website. Building a website in some ways is simpler than building a full-grown product that you install on a machine and things like that. So be careful if you're seeing a coding bootcamp telling you you're going to be a software engineer in 12 weeks. A software engineer and computer science typically takes 2 to 4 years. So think about that.
Yeah, good question. I'm seeing some question about am I being ready for the course if I don't have basic knowledge? I think that's Matthias. So we did mention about the quiz. So I'm going to post a link to the quiz in YouTube. So there you go. Hopefully that will help you. Oh, darn, it's not a hyperlink. But anyway, you can copy paste that, Matthias. And if you can score an 85 on that quiz, then go ahead and register for the full stack or the front end course.
Great. I'll take two questions. One from actually Chad Jones on Facebook this time. His kid is playing soccer, mine as well, every Saturday morning. And so asking, is it mandatory for him to attend the 9 to 1 p.m. workshop? Unfortunately, yes, it is. I mean, we don't make things mandatory in terms of attendance. The production of the assignment is mandatory. But I will say, if you think you cannot attend the workshop session, that will mean you're going to miss a huge amount of value that we deliver for you. And so you will want to wonder, maybe you actually should do it online, just pure online, and see if it works. Now, that being said, because we're online now, you can pick a different time zone. And so if you are maybe in Pacific time zone, you could decide to sign up in the Eastern time zone and plan to wake up that much earlier to attend the 9 a.m. Eastern time for you. So that could be an alternative. But I would say, yes, the 9 to 1 workshop on Saturday is, I mean, we're not going to force you, but we're really going to encourage you to not do it, to not register if you can't make it. And then there was another question from Azodnems. I probably didn't spell that one right. Who's saying that I think you're not a media savvy or computer savvy person, and you're asking, can you still do it? There was another question about that, like someone who's really hasn't done any coding in the past. I would say sign up for the 4 weeks bootcamp, and you'll know if that's for you. You'll know if you understand it. You'll know if you like it. What we do ask is that you have some computer literacy skills. What that means is you've used a computer before for a year. You know how to type. You know how to use the mouse. You know how to create folders, move around files. That's really what we ask, so that we don't have to teach you those basics. But then, yeah, sign up for the 4 weeks bootcamp, and you'll know right after that if that's something you want to pursue longer or not.
Great. Yes. And as a Nemes, I'm glad you decided to register. So that's good. You're in the right place. Let's see. So Jeremy Schultz on YouTube, you're already showing a great attitude by saying, how much group work is there? I don't want my team members paying for my lack of availability during their times. You show a great web developer attitude already, looking towards teamwork. The group work, if you're in the web fundamentals class, it's not going to be as great. Once you get to Bootstrap and onward, there will be group work, but the schedule is flexible, and most of the group work, I believe, will occur in the Saturday workshops. So, and Ludo, please comment if you have anything on that, but you should be okay for Saturdays there, Jeremy. And I've seen some location specific questions like, what about Palm Beach, or what about, my state? Go on nucamp.co and type in your community, and then you'll see the schedule for your local area.
That's right. There's a question from Sean regarding grades and how many assignments are required a day. So there's many exercises that you're going to go through throughout the day and throughout the week, but these are not graded. These are really more exercises that are part of your learning journey. Every assignment that you work on a Saturday during that Saturday workshop is graded, right? So you have 1 grade a week. And you need to pass the grade to pass the module. You need to pass all Saturdays to actually graduate from the bootcamp. The grade is on the range from 0 to 10, and 6 is the passing grade. And you can actually retake and resubmit the assignment to get a better grade. So we are not, we're really encouraging people to seek to do better. And so if you want to get a better grade and work more on your assignment, you can ask the instructor to revert, and you'll post again and things like that. So there's many opportunities to be successful.
Okay, so we still have a few minutes left, huh, Ludo? So
Yes.
I'll take one from YouTube. Again, Bobo, thanks for you guys, the interaction here. You're really keeping the questions coming. An old dog looking for new tricks after a 35-year career in aviation. I see positions in the area for data analysis. Would these courses aid such a job hunt? So data analysis, that's a little bit different than web development. And you might do better with, kind of, I'm not sure if you're thinking machine learning or Python or R or that kind of thing. If you're already looking at positions in your area that are in that category, web development kind of differs in that, and you might want to look into something more specific in data analysis. That being said, if you're if you're worried about being a career changer at a later stage in life, don't worry too much about that. And for web development and coding in general, I would say go for it. And there are many, many, many people in your position, especially with 35 years in aviation. You're going to be miles ahead of another applicant if you're applying to an aerospace or an avionics company. In fact, you could type in Indeed or LinkedIn job search, aviation or aircraft and JavaScript and the same search. And you'll probably find the job that you will rank higher against other candidates for once you have learned this material.
A few questions here that I'm going to take. One on Facebook from Shah Wali Khan. What about web design? Since web design is mostly done on Photoshop, is that part of the front-end development? So the answer is no, we do not teach in-depth from web design, although obviously we point you and we actually ask you to design a website. We do point you to those tools that help you kind of create a visual of your website, the mockups and things like that. But the front end, just like the full stack, is very much oriented on coding. At the end, you are a web developer, you are a coder, not so much a designer. That will be a different track. Then I see also another question on, yes, Sean Robinson asking how much it would cost to retake a course. And the good news here is, and that's one of the reasons why we really say we are flexible, you can pause your bootcamp. So you can actually let it pass for 5 weeks and then take it back again. Or you can retake the course, the module that you just took because you feel like you didn't grasp everything for $39 the first time you do that. So you can actually do that. And the first time it's going to cost you $39. Any subsequent times you want to pause or retake will cost you just $79. So not at all another $400. Again, we really appreciate and realize that life gets in the way, that you all want a bootcamp that really offers flexibility in allowing you to deal with whatever happens in your life. And so that's what we offer. And then that last one I think is really interesting. Newton, what are the options if we get a job during the bootcamp? One option is to open a bottle of champagne with everyone in your class. But I think you probably mean from a tuition payment. Our refund policy is the one that is set by the education boards in every state. So you can get a refund. It depends how far along you are. And typically, every refund policy says that if you've been in the bootcamp, meaning if you've consumed more than 50% of the content in the bootcamp, you owe 100% of the tuition. But then if you've consumed less than 50%, then you're going to get 50% back, 25% back, 10% back. So there's the threshold. And we don't set that. It's actually the education boards that are setting that refund policy. So that's I think that was the question. Anything else?
Yep. I think that pretty much covers it.
Well, we're actually at the end of it as well. So this is pretty good. And maybe Daniel Alvarez, you're a graphic designer. I would say start with front end. And there you go. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Zandra, for joining me today. Really appreciate. You can reach out to us on our website, www.nucamp.co. If you're not receiving our emails, you can click interested and you'll get emails from us, you may actually get an email from Zendra. Zendra and Luis actually are the two advisors right now that are helping answer any question. So yeah, hope to see you soon. And you'll see me on Slack if you register. Take care, everyone. See you, Zendra.
Bye. See you guys.